Hello everyone, and welcome. Today, we're diving into our comprehensive overview of core management principles. The presentation is titled Organizational Structure, and will explore key areas like strategic planning, human resources, leadership, and operational control. Over the next few slides, we'll cover essential concepts that are perfect for exam preparation or enhancing your management skills. So, let's get started and take this journey into the fundamentals of management together. Let's start by looking at the core management functions. First, planning. This is all about establishing objectives and deciding on the courses of action needed to reach those goals. It's like setting the destination before you start a journey. Next is organizing, which involves arranging resources and tasks efficiently. Think of it as putting together the right team and tools to get the job done. Then we have leading, where the focus is on motivating and directing people. It's about inspiring your team and guiding them toward common objectives. Lastly, controlling involves monitoring performance and making corrections as needed. This step ensures that everything is on track and adjustments are made to stay aligned with your goals. These functions are the foundation of effective management because managers orchestrate a variety of resources, human, financial, and material, to achieve strategic objectives. It's all about integrating these assets smoothly to drive success. In any organization, a manager's role is to coordinate these activities seamlessly. They act as the orchestrators who bring together different resources and efforts to fulfill the company's mission and vision. So, as we move through this presentation, keep in mind how these functions form the backbone of managerial work and how they connect to the overall success of an organization. Operations management is all about maintaining a continuous function that keeps the organization running smoothly. It's about meeting customer expectations, controlling costs, and building a competitive advantage by integrating technology and agile methods. Unlike marketing or finance, operations takes the organizational capabilities and translates them into real value that customers experience. It involves implementing standards, conducting inspections, and constantly driving improvements to keep everything efficient and effective. Quality control, for example, is crucial. It ensures that services and products meet the required standards, which builds trust with customers. On the service side, operations coordinate service delivery, manage customer interactions, and make sure the quality remains consistent. For manufacturing, operations oversee the production process, optimize workflows, and plan capacity to maximize efficiency. At its core, operations management ensures that everyday activities are carried out smoothly, transforming raw materials, labor, capital, and information into the final products or services that meet customer needs. It's all about turning organizational capabilities into value, which ultimately drives success in a competitive landscape. When we talk about quantitative versus qualitative approaches, it's important to see how combining the two can really enhance management effectiveness. Quantitative methods give us precision through data and numbers, while qualitative insights add context and understanding of the broader picture. Together, they create a more balanced and informed decision-making process. Forecasting is a key example. It's about predicting future demand and economic conditions, which helps us plan ahead and adapt proactively. Linear programming is another powerful tool. It helps us optimize resource allocation, ensuring we use our assets in the most efficient way possible. Then there's queuing theory, which is all about managing waiting lines and service capacity. Think of it as making sure customers are served quickly without unnecessary wait times. Simulation allows us to test different scenarios virtually, so we can see potential outcomes without real-world risks. Decision trees are like maps of choices and outcomes. They help us visualize the potential paths and consequences of our decisions. The key takeaway here is that these tools are based on mathematical models and data analysis, which are crucial for optimizing our business decisions. This quantitative management approach, when combined with qualitative insights, forms a comprehensive strategy that enhances overall effectiveness. Now, let's look at managing relationships with our key stakeholders. This includes investors, board members, and regulators. Building and maintaining strong relationships with these groups is crucial because they influence our organization's success and reputation. It's about clear communication, trust, and transparency. Next, we have stakeholder relations, which involve monitoring external trends, understanding the competitive landscape, and identifying emerging threats. Staying ahead of these factors helps us adapt and make informed decisions to protect and grow our organization. Moving on, establishing overarching policies, ethical standards, and governance frameworks is essential for guiding our organization's behavior and ensuring accountability. These foundational elements create a solid structure that supports ethical decision-making and compliance. Then, defining our organization's vision, mission, and long-term objectives provides a clear sense of purpose and direction. This strategic foundation inspires our team and aligns our efforts toward common goals. Finally, at the top management level, such as CEOs, presidents, and board members, they set the strategic direction. They define how we will achieve our objectives and measure organizational performance. This leadership shapes the overall success and sustainability of the organization. All these elements are interconnected and vital for effective management. They help us navigate complex environments, uphold our values, and drive our long-term success. Now, let's talk about the importance of being proactive versus reactive when it comes to legal compliance. Top managers who anticipate regulatory trends and embed compliance into their strategies are better positioned for success. Instead of waiting for issues to arise, they proactively address areas like labor and employment, covering wages and safety, environmental standards and waste management, consumer protection including safety and privacy, intellectual property such as patents and copyrights, antitrust and competition concerns related to mergers and pricing, and corporate governance duties like reporting. This proactive approach is crucial because the political legal dimension involves laws, regulations, and government policies that can significantly influence how a business operates. By understanding and anticipating these factors, managers can navigate the complex legal landscape more effectively, reducing risks and fostering sustainable growth. Remember, staying ahead of legal requirements isn't just about compliance. It's about integrating these considerations into your overall management strategy to create a resilient and responsible organization. Let's take a closer look at the vital communication conduits within an organization. These middle managers play a crucial role. They interpret directives from top management and influence how strategies are executed on the ground. Their insights help ensure that what is planned aligns with what's achievable, bringing a sense of realism to strategic goals. Their key responsibilities include translating high-level corporate strategy into specific departmental objectives. This process is what we call strategic translation, and it's essential because it ensures everyone is working towards common goals. Another critical function is resource orchestration. Middle managers allocate budgets, assign personnel, and coordinate resources effectively. This orchestration ensures that resources are used efficiently and that operational activities are aligned with strategic priorities. Their dual perspective, linking operations and strategy, makes them invaluable. They are the bridge that connects the big picture with day-to-day activities, enhancing organizational effectiveness. As part of their ongoing role, they report on progress and adapt plans as needed. This involves tracking progress, monitoring performance, and making adjustments to stay on course. It's all about being flexible and responsive to changing conditions. Organizing and coordinating are also vital tasks. They set up the necessary structures and processes to ensure smooth execution. Developing action plans and budgets falls under tactical planning, translating strategic goals into actionable steps. In summary, middle managers are the key link between strategic vision and operational execution. They turn broad goals into specific, achievable actions for frontline teams, making sure the entire organization moves forward cohesively. Now, let's look at licensing and the challenges it can bring. While licensing offers several advantages, such as rapid market entry and reduced operational complexity, it also has its drawbacks. For instance, it poses less quality control compared to full ownership, and there's always a potential risk of future competitors entering the market. Additionally, revenue from licensing is primarily limited to fees or royalties, which might restrict overall income potential. Another consideration is that licensing creates a dependency on the partner's capabilities, which can affect your brand and operational standards. Despite these challenges, licensing remains an attractive option, especially for international growth, because it involves manageable risks. It allows a company to expand quickly without heavy investment upfront. Now, contrasting this with full ownership, which offers maximum control, but also requires the highest level of risk and resource commitment. Full ownership involves direct investment and managing every aspect of the business yourself. Then there's direct investment, which involves building or acquiring a comprehensive business system. It gives more control but requires moderate investment. Franchising is somewhere in between, offering limited scope, usually focused on specific products or technology, meaning lower control and investment levels compared to full ownership. So, in summary, licensing is a strategic choice for expanding internationally, especially when quick market access and minimal capital outlay are priorities. It's about leveraging your intellectual property to generate revenue while minimizing operational risks. Both specialists and generalists play a crucial role in maximizing the value of an organization. On one hand, we have specialists like those in systems architecture, cybersecurity, and database management, who bring deep technical expertise. Then there are HR specialists focused on recruitment, compensation, and labor relations, and marketing specialists handling market research, brand management, and digital marketing. We also have finance specialists managing treasury, financial analysis, and tax planning, as well as audit managers who lead financial audits to ensure accountability and compliance. These roles require a strong foundation of deep knowledge in their specific areas. When we talk about specialist managers, they are individuals who combine deep technical expertise within a narrow field and apply it to manage a specific department effectively. Their focus is on technical excellence, ensuring they meet standards and stay compliant. They are essential because they bring a high level of specialization that supports the overall success of the organization. Understanding the role of these specialists and managers helps us see how both broad and deep expertise are necessary to achieve organizational excellence and drive continuous improvement. On this slide, I want to emphasize how effective managers stay ahead by consistently monitoring political and legal changes and integrating compliance directly into their business operations. It's crucial because these factors can significantly influence how a company functions and grows. Now, alongside that, we have other important external influences, such as cultural and social trends. These include values, beliefs, demographics, and lifestyle shifts that shape consumer behavior and market opportunities. Technological advances are also vital. Think about innovation, research and development, and the technical infrastructure that keeps a business competitive and forward-looking. But today, I want to focus on the political-legal environment, which is quite distinct from these other dimensions. This environment is shaped by prevailing political ideologies, which parties are in control, and the outcomes of elections. All these elements influence future legislative and regulatory directions, which in turn affect business confidence and investment decisions. The political climate also plays a significant role. Things like tariffs, trade agreements, and restrictions on imports and exports. These directly impact how businesses operate globally. This includes frameworks at bilateral, regional, and multilateral levels, such as the World Trade Organization. Trade policies are another key aspect. These are shaped by agencies like the EPA, OSHA, SEC, FTC, and FDA. They create regulations, enforce compliance, and can impose penalties, translating broad laws into specific operational requirements that businesses must follow. Regulatory agencies are essential because they ensure that statutory requirements, those from federal, state, and local legislative bodies, are met. These laws cover areas like employment, environmental protection, consumer rights, and industry-specific regulations. Overall, understanding the political legal environment helps managers anticipate changes, ensure their operations are compliant, and identify strategic opportunities. This environment, comprising governmental influences, regulatory frameworks, political processes, and legal constraints, is key to navigating the complex landscape in which modern businesses operate. Now, let's talk about the importance of monitoring results and adjusting as needed. This is a crucial step in ensuring our strategy stays on track and responds to any changes in the environment. Next, we move into strategy evaluation, where we assess how well our plans are working and identify areas for improvement. Executing plans involves using a clear structure and systems to make sure everything runs smoothly and efficiently. Strategy implementation is about developing competitive approaches and setting specific goals to achieve our vision. Strategy formulation involves analyzing external opportunities and threats, so we can position ourselves effectively in the market. Environmental scanning helps us stay aware of external factors that could impact our strategy, ensuring we remain proactive. Aligning choices with strategy, or decision alignment, ensures that every decision we make supports our overall strategic goals. When it comes to competing in markets, we focus on competitive positioning, finding ways to win and stand out against rivals. Resource allocation is about investing our time, money, and talent wisely to support our strategic priorities. Finally, defining our vision, mission, and objectives sets the direction for everything we do, answering key questions like, what business are we in? Who are our customers? How do we create value and compete effectively? And where should we invest our resources? Overall, strategic management is about defining our organization's direction, making smart resource decisions, and establishing a competitive position for long-term success. This process guides us through every step of achieving our goals. Let's take a closer look at tactical planning. Essentially, tactical plans serve as the crucial link between our strategic intent and the actual operational reality. They translate our big-picture ambitions into achievable, actionable steps. For example, we might develop 3 new eco-friendly product lines over the next 18 months, or aim to reduce manufacturing waste by 40% within 2 years. Or perhaps, launch a green marketing campaign targeting 10 million consumers. Think of tactical plans as the middle ground. They're more detailed than strategic plans, but less granular than day-to-day operations. They typically cover a timeframe of 1 to 3 years, with intermediate milestones to track progress. They are usually scoped to departments or divisions, allowing for focused efforts while remaining flexible enough to adapt to change. What's really important is that tactical plans include measurable targets, budgets, and KPIs, so we can assess progress clearly. Without these plans, our strategy remains too abstract, and without strategy, tactical plans lack direction. They are essential because they ensure that all parts of the organization are aligned and working toward common goals. In the overall picture, tactical plans bridge high-level strategic visions with daily operational tasks. They guide resource allocation, project prioritization, and accountability, making sure our daily efforts truly contribute to our strategic objectives. So, in a nutshell, tactical planning is about turning our ambitions into practical, achievable steps that keep us on track. Rigorous evaluation is essential because it helps us avoid biases, ensuring our decisions are based on facts rather than assumptions. It aligns our choices with our overall objectives, making sure we're moving in the right direction. Plus, it transforms guesswork into informed, confident decisions. When evaluating options, it's important to question the performance assumptions we're making. Are they realistic? Are we overlooking any critical factors? Testing these assumptions early helps us avoid surprises down the line. Next, we need to estimate the resources required. Think about the time, money, and personnel needed to implement each option. This helps us understand what it truly takes to succeed. We also have to consider risks, evaluating the probability of negative outcomes and their potential impact. This risk assessment allows us to prepare better or even avoid risky options altogether. Analyzing trade-offs is another key step. We identify strengths and weaknesses of each alternative so we can understand where they excel or fall short. Then we score these options based on weighted criteria, whether it's strategic fit, costs, or risks, so we can compare them systematically. Finally, we assess each option against our established criteria, helping us select the best fit for our goals. All these steps, using both quantitative data like costs and resources, and qualitative insights such as strategic fit and risk, help managers make balanced, informed decisions. The goal is to be thorough but also timely, because overanalyzing can lead to paralysis by analysis. This process is part of the broader rational decision-making framework, which guides us from identifying the problem all the way through to evaluating the results and learning for future decisions. Focusing on evaluating alternatives systematically ensures we're making thoughtful, well-informed choices that support our strategic objectives. On this slide, we're looking at how balancing programmed decisions can actually free managers to focus on more novel challenges. Now, when we talk about the nature of programmed decisions, they tend to be routine and structured. That means they follow established rules and procedures, making them predictable and straightforward to handle. Examples include things like reordering inventory, approving employee vacation requests, handling routine customer returns, or scheduling equipment maintenance. These are situations that happen often, and because they're so routine, we can manage them efficiently. The approach for these decisions is quite systematic, using clear rules and procedures to ensure consistency. This consistency leads to uniform responses and predictable outcomes, which is crucial for maintaining efficiency. Because these decisions are quick and predetermined, they allow managers to resolve issues fast, freeing up time for more complex, non-programmed decisions. Now, non-programmed decisions are quite different. They involve unique, complex situations that require judgment and creativity. Think about developing new products or responding to a crisis. These situations are less routine and more unpredictable. So, by effectively managing programmed decisions, managers can conserve their energy and focus on those novel challenges that demand innovative thinking and strategic judgment. This balance ultimately enhances overall organizational effectiveness. Effective strategy is all about creating value for the organization. When a strategy is well crafted, it aligns the business's activities and resources to achieve long-term success. But if the strategy is poor or misaligned, it can actually destroy value by causing confusion or misdirection. That's why setting a clear organizational identity is so important, as it guides decision-making and resource allocation. It also directly impacts how competitive you will be over the long term. Now, let's look at some specific strategic approaches. Retrenchment involves scaling back operations, divesting parts of the business, or restructuring to focus on core strengths. Strategic alliances are about forming partnerships that benefit both parties, sharing resources, or entering new markets together. Portfolio management helps us balance investments across our various businesses, like using the BCG matrix to decide which units to grow, hold, or divest. Other strategies include acquiring or merging with other companies to boost growth or increase market share. Vertical integration involves controlling more of the supply chain, either from suppliers to customers, to improve efficiency or reduce costs. Diversification means adding new business lines or entering unrelated industries, spreading risk and opening new revenue streams. Geographic expansion involves entering new international or regional markets to tap into new growth opportunities. Managing a portfolio of businesses requires a comprehensive view. It's about overseeing all operations, making decisions on which markets to compete in, and how to allocate resources across different units. The goal is to create synergies and ensure the entire enterprise works in harmony. At the core, corporate strategy answers fundamental questions. What businesses should we be in? Which markets should we target? How do we allocate our resources? And how can we generate value by linking our units together? It defines the overall scope and direction of the organization. In summary, a strong corporate strategy guides us in making these critical decisions, ensuring that every move is aligned with our long-term vision and competitive advantage. Successful managers understand the importance of balancing goal commitment with flexible methods. That means they stay focused on their objectives, but are willing to adjust their tactics based on the results they see. Instead of stubbornly sticking to a failing course, they recognize when a different approach is needed and adapt accordingly. Learning cultures play a crucial role here. They see setbacks not as failures, but as opportunities to learn. This encourages managers to openly acknowledge problems, experiment with new ideas, and quickly adapt their strategies. This rapid learning accelerates the entire organization's growth. Now, let's talk about some common pitfalls to avoid. One is escalation of commitment, which means you shouldn't keep pouring resources into a failing approach just because you've already invested a lot. Instead, recognize when to stop and reevaluate. Another trap is defensive avoidance, honestly confronting failure rather than ignoring it or brushing it under the rug. When things go wrong, it's vital to learn from those mistakes instead of blaming external factors or other people. Blame displacement is another trap to avoid. Instead of externalizing failure, see it as a chance to learn and improve. To navigate setbacks effectively, we need to acknowledge failure openly, analyze the root causes thoroughly, and revisit how we define the problem. It's also important to re-examine our options, gather new information, and adjust our criteria for success. Revising our approach, based on these insights, allows us to implement new solutions confidently and monitor their results closely. This adaptive problem-solving process hinges on honesty and resilience. When initial solutions don't work, effective managers don't give up. They reevaluate, explore new alternatives, and keep moving forward. In the end, managing failure well is about viewing setbacks as opportunities for growth and continuous improvement, which aligns perfectly with our overall goal of developing resilient and learning-oriented organizations. This first step sets the strategic direction for your venture. Remember, strong ideas can significantly boost your chances of entrepreneurial success, making this initial conceptual phase a very worthwhile investment. When it comes to idea conception, it's essential to balance creativity with discipline. Your imagination helps generate a wide range of possibilities, but critical analysis is necessary to filter those ideas for viability. Entrepreneurs often go through a process of iteration, refining their ideas to sharpen their understanding of the market and customer needs. A key part of this process is articulating the customer value and your competitive advantage. What makes your offering unique and compelling? Testing the idea's viability is also crucial. This involves gathering customer feedback and analyzing responses to determine if your idea truly has potential. Market validation combines your understanding of the market with creative insights, helping you identify gaps, unmet needs, or inefficiencies that you can address. Recognizing these opportunities is a vital step toward creating something valuable and differentiated. Once you have a solid idea, the next step is securing financing, obtaining capital from investors to fund your plans. Then, you move into implementation, launching operations, serving customers, and turning your idea into reality. Throughout this journey, it's important to identify opportunities, understand the potential for competitive advantage and profitability, and ensure your ideas align with your capabilities. Keep in mind that ideas often require refinement. Rarely are they perfect on the first try. Viable ideas typically come from diverse sources: personal experiences, industry trends, technological advances, and shifts in the market. Entrepreneurs are always on the lookout for problems to solve, which helps cultivate ongoing opportunity recognition. In essence, the journey begins with conceiving a business idea, recognizing opportunities to create value by solving problems or meeting needs. This initial phase is absolutely crucial because it sets the foundation for everything that follows. Small businesses play a crucial role in our economy by offering personalized service, fostering community connections, and demonstrating entrepreneurial agility. While they differ from large corporations in many ways, they also share common traits that shape their vital economic roles. For example, in the United States, small businesses make up 99.9% of all firms, employ nearly half of private sector workers, and are responsible for creating about 2/3 of new jobs. That's a huge impact for such a diverse and dynamic sector. Typically, small businesses are managed centrally by owner-managers who make most of the decisions. This direct control allows them to be flexible and responsive to market changes. They often excel at providing personal service because they build close relationships with their customers. However, they usually have limited market share, often operating in niche markets, which means they focus on specialized products or services. Resource constraints are common. They may face challenges accessing capital, talent, or advanced technology. But what they lack in resources, they often make up for with flexibility, quickly adapting to changing circumstances. On a local level, small businesses contribute significantly to community jobs and economic vitality. They tend to operate on a smaller scale, often with fewer than 500 employees, and usually have limited financial resources and geographic scope. Many run from a single location or just a few, deepening their roots in the communities they serve. Ownership is typically private, with owners maintaining direct control and often bearing personal liability. Profits are either kept within the business or distributed among owners. These characteristics, modest size, agility, and close community ties, are what makes small businesses uniquely vital. Understanding these traits helps us appreciate both the challenges they face and their remarkable ability to adapt and thrive. Small businesses are truly the backbone of local economies, driving innovation, employment, and community well-being. Beyond the immediate economic benefits, entrepreneurship plays a crucial role in fostering self-reliance and encouraging risk-taking. These qualities help create vibrant and resilient economic ecosystems. Governments recognize this importance and support entrepreneurship through policies that reduce barriers and increase access to capital, understanding how vital it is for long-term resilience and prosperity. When successful entrepreneurs generate wealth, it benefits not just the founders, but also employees, investors, and local communities. This cycle of wealth creation fuels economic growth and encourages reinvestment, strengthening the overall economy. Furthermore, new entrants in the market boost competition, which pushes existing firms to innovate and improve. This competition ultimately benefits consumers by providing better choices and higher quality products. Entrepreneurs are also key drivers of technological and product innovation. Their efforts lead to solutions that enhance productivity and significantly improve our quality of life. And we can't forget about job creation. New businesses are responsible for most net new jobs, with small businesses employing nearly half of all private sector workers. All of these elements, innovation, competition, job creation, combine to make entrepreneurship a powerful engine of economic dynamism. It sparks not just economic growth, but also social progress, bringing positive change to societies around the world. This freedom, of course, comes with its own set of challenges, like building a customer base from scratch. But for those with innovative ideas, this path can be incredibly rewarding. It's really suited for people willing to accept higher risks in exchange for greater rewards. It requires resilience and adaptability because you'll need to pivot quickly based on market feedback. One of the biggest benefits is the personal fulfillment you get from building something entirely your own. You have the maximum flexibility to adapt your strategies without being tied down by existing structures. You can make all decisions about operations, culture, and strategy without negotiation or compromise. Plus, starting from scratch means you avoid legacy issues like outdated facilities, poor reputations, or inefficient processes that often come with existing businesses. You have the freedom to design unique models, products, or services without being constrained by existing frameworks. This complete creative freedom allows you to craft every aspect of your business according to your vision. When you start from zero, you have full control over the business model, the brand, and the operations. It's a blank canvas, giving you the chance to create something truly distinctive. While it's definitely challenging, starting from scratch offers some key advantages over buying an existing business or investing in a franchise. It's about building something that's truly your own, with all the flexibility and control that come with that. Modern organizations tend to favor wider spans of management, mainly because of empowerment and technological advancements. However, it's important to remember that if the span becomes too wide, it can actually overwhelm managers and reduce effectiveness. The key is to match the span of control to the current circumstances of the organization. Factors like task complexity, employee capability, geographic dispersion, technology use, and the level of standardization all influence what the optimal span should be. For example, in retail or service environments, a very wide span of 30 or more might work well for efficiency. On the other hand, modern organizations typically have an average span of about 15 to 20, while traditional organizations might keep it much narrower, around 5 to 7. Organizational structure and height, communication speed and accuracy, management costs, employee autonomy, supervision, and culture all play roles in determining the best span of control. So why does span matter? A wider span, say 10 to 20 or more, usually results in a flatter organizational structure, faster communication, and less supervision needed. Conversely, a narrower span, like 3 to 6, tends to create a taller structure with closer supervision and higher management costs. Ultimately, the span of management defines how many subordinates report directly to a manager. It shapes organizational structure, influences communication flow, decision-making processes, and workload distribution. Understanding and choosing the right span is crucial for creating an effective, adaptable organization. Skipping unfreezing often leads to failed change efforts. Investing time here significantly improves transformation success. Effective unfreezing requires honest assessment and challenging old patterns. Leaders must create what I call disequilibrium, a state that motivates action without causing paralysis. To do this, engage influential change champions and build a coalition. It's also important to listen carefully, acknowledge fears, and reduce anxiety. Address concerns directly and articulate clear goals for the change. Communicate a compelling vision, showing why this change is necessary, often through data that creates a sense of urgency. Remember, organizations naturally resist change because of comfort, fear, or inertia. Unfreezing helps to break down this resistance by highlighting inadequacies and fostering dissatisfaction with the status quo. This process is essential for overcoming resistance and moving forward. Once resistance is addressed, you can solidify the new normal through refreezing or implementing the new ways of working. This entire process aligns with Lewin's three-stage model, unfreezing, changing, and refreezing, which provides a clear roadmap for successful organizational transformation. The unfreezing stage is especially crucial because it prepares the organization for the upcoming change, setting the foundation for everything that follows. Now, let's take a closer look at the core of how OD practitioners approach change. They follow an action research model, which is a cyclical process involving diagnosing the current situation, gathering feedback, identifying priorities, designing interventions, and then evaluating outcomes. This cycle isn't just a one-time thing. It builds capacity for ongoing self-renewal, meaning organizations keep evolving and improving over time. When we talk about OD's distinctive focus, it's clear that lasting effectiveness depends on healthy human systems. That means having capable people, supportive cultures, and effective processes, things that go beyond just technology or profit margins. At the heart of this are humanistic values like respect, trust, and authenticity. These create a foundation for genuine engagement. We also adopt a systems perspective, which involves understanding how different parts of the organization interdepend and influence each other. A participative approach is crucial too, meaning we involve stakeholders at every level in the change process. This fosters buy-in and shared ownership. And of course, action research keeps us data-driven, diagnosing issues accurately and designing targeted interventions. Continuous learning is another key principle. It helps build adaptive capacity so organizations can respond effectively to change. Now, let's talk about some core OD principles. OD uses planned interventions, deliberate activities like team building or conducting surveys to gather feedback. These activities are participative, focusing on relationships and learning. They address both technical issues and human dynamics, making sure we're not just fixing problems, but also strengthening the people involved. This approach enhances our ability to identify issues, analyze their causes, generate solutions, and implement improvements, driving adaptation and resilience. Building problem-solving capacity is essential, too. Through training, coaching, and leadership development, we strengthen individual and team skills. Workforce capability isn't just about skills. It's about shaping shared values that support innovation and accountability while addressing dysfunctional patterns that may hold us back. Cultural development involves improving how information flows, enhancing listening and feedback to reduce misunderstandings and speed up problem-solving. Finally, improved communication is vital. OD helps organizations foster open, honest dialogues, which creates trust and helps us navigate challenges more effectively. Overall, OD is a systematic, long-term approach that aims to improve organizational effectiveness by focusing on human and social elements, relationships, culture, processes, and capabilities. It emphasizes people and their interactions as the key to success. The NLRA, or National Labor Relations Act, was created to help reduce industrial conflicts, promote fair bargaining between workers and employers, and stabilize working conditions. It's crucial for managers to understand the legal boundaries it sets, particularly when responding to organizing efforts or bargaining negotiations. This law is considered the foundation of U.S. labor law and came at a time when union activity was rapidly growing. Today, the NLRA remains highly relevant because it continues to address important issues like union governance and members' rights. For example, the 1959 Landrum-Griffin Act built on this foundation by restricting certain union activities to ensure transparency and accountability. Looking back, the 1947 Taft-Hartley Act was introduced to establish clearer rights for organizing and bargaining, but also to limit some union powers. And of course, in 1935, the NLRA was passed, marking a significant turning point in labor relations. At the core of the NLRA is the National Labor Relations Board, or NLRB, an independent agency responsible for enforcing the law, conducting elections, and investigating violations. Employers must be careful not to interfere with employees. Organizing rights, discriminate against union supporters, refuse to bargain in good faith, or support company unions, as these actions are considered unfair labor practices. The key protections under the NLRA include the rights for employees to form or join labor organizations, bargain collectively through chosen representatives, and engage in concerted activities for mutual aid and protection. Before the NLRA, employers often suppressed union efforts, firing supporters or intimidating workers, leading to power imbalances and unrest. But with the Wagner Act, these issues began to change dramatically. In essence, the NLRA transformed American labor relations by establishing workers' rights to organize, bargain collectively, and fostering industrial peace. It's a cornerstone law that continues to shape how labor and management interact today. Let's take a closer look at some of the key provisions of the Taft-Hartley Act and what they mean for labor relations. For managers, It offers important protections like free speech during organizing efforts, the ability to keep operations running during strikes, and obligations for good faith bargaining. These measures help balance the power between employers and unions. While Taft-Hartley remains controversial, mainly because it restricts union activities, it has fundamentally shaped how labor relations work in the United States today. It established legal obligations for both sides and set restrictions to maintain order and fairness. One of its notable provisions outlawed closed shops, meaning you couldn't require someone to be part of a union before they could get a job. It also mandated that unions bargain in good faith, which promotes honest negotiations. Employers gained the right to initiate union elections, and unions are now required to disclose their financial information, ensuring transparency. The law also gives states the authority to ban union security agreements through what we call right-to-work laws. These laws protect employer-free speech and permit the use of permanent replacement workers during strikes, which can be a significant point of contention. On the employer rights side, Taft-Hartley prohibits closed shops, secondary boycotts, and certain types of strikes that could harm the economy or public safety. For unions, the law strikes a balance between workers' right to strike and the public's need for essential services, allowing temporary interventions when necessary. This balancing act comes into play especially in critical industries like shipping, coal, and steel. In such cases, if a strike threatens to cause severe economic or public welfare impacts, the president can step in. The process involves identifying a critical strike, seeking a court injunction through the Attorney General, and ordering an 80-day cooling-off period. During this time, mediators work to facilitate a settlement, and workers may vote on the final offer if no agreement is reached. The president then reports to Congress, and if unresolved, the strike can resume after 80 days. This process underscores the federal government's authority to intervene when strikes threaten national health or safety, allowing workers to return to work temporarily. Overall, the Taft-Hartley Act serves as a crucial tool to maintain a balance between labor rights, employer interests, and public welfare, shaping the landscape of American labor relations for decades. When it comes to managers, understanding what affirmative action plans, or AAPs, require is essential. They involve grasping both legal obligations and practical strategies for creating workplaces that are diverse and inclusive, where every employee has the opportunity to thrive. It's important to remember that AAPs are about establishing goals, not setting rigid quotas. They consider both merit and diversity, which helps us expand our candidate pools and find the best talent from a wide range of backgrounds. Programs under AAPs often include activities like expanded recruitment efforts, training programs, mentoring initiatives, and removing barriers that might prevent certain groups from advancing. Let's look at the key elements of an AAP. First, we need to track our progress and be ready to modify our approaches as needed. Monitoring and adjusting are ongoing processes to ensure we're moving in the right direction. Then, we implement specific actions, like recruitment, training, and promotion initiatives, to reach our goals. Next, we establish targets for equitable representation, setting clear goals to guide our efforts. We start by identifying where underutilization exists, pinpointing gaps in our workforce. This involves analyzing the current demographics and comparing them to the labor market, which gives us a clear picture of where disparities might be. From there, we conduct a thorough workforce analysis, develop goals and timetables, and create action programs that include recruitment, training, and promotion initiatives. Regularly auditing our progress and reporting on outcomes keeps us accountable. Good faith documentation is also crucial to demonstrate our efforts and intent. Remember, affirmative action remains a complex and sometimes contentious topic. It originated from civil rights legislation, which requires employers to make genuine efforts to achieve equitable representation and address past exclusions. The ultimate goal of an AAP is to promote equal employment opportunities, increase diversity, and remove barriers, so everyone has a fair shot at hearing, promotion, and development. Let's take a closer look at the collective bargaining process for managers. Effective labor relations require a clear understanding of how bargaining works, sticking to the terms of the contract, and building strong, productive relationships with union representatives. Unions play a key role here by administering agreements through grievance procedures, which give workers a formal way to resolve disputes and have a voice on workplace issues. The process typically begins with preparing proposals, then exchanging ideas and negotiating. If negotiations reach an impasse, mediation might be used to help find a resolution. It's also important to recognize that there's always the possibility of strikes or lockouts if parties can't agree. When an agreement is finally reached, it must be ratified by union members before it becomes the official contract, which then governs the relationship. Now, individual workers often have limited leverage on their own. That's where unions come in. They unite workers and create power through collective representation, including the credible threat of strikes, supported by solidarity among members. This collective strength offers tangible advantages. For instance, unions help create grievance procedures, establish just cause for discipline, and set up seniority systems. They also work to establish safety standards, work schedules, overtime rules, and break periods, improving working conditions overall. Additionally, unions secure vital benefits like health insurance, retirement plans, paid leave, and life insurance, which are essential for workers' well-being. Negotiating fair wages, wage scales, bonuses, and overall compensation is another core function of unions. This process protects workers against arbitrary decisions and ensures fair pay. Ultimately, collective bargaining empowers individual workers by transforming limited bargaining power into real leverage through collective action. So, the essence of a union's role is in that collective bargaining process, negotiating wages, benefits, hours, and conditions on behalf of workers. This process is fundamental to establishing fair and safe working environments, making sure workers' voices are heard and protected. Understanding these concepts is especially important for managers because it helps us make better decisions around hearing, motivating, and retaining employees. When employees consider higher pay elsewhere, having a well-structured mix of direct and indirect compensation can really make a difference. It's about finding the right balance based on what our workforce prefers, what the market demands, and our own company philosophy. Transparency is key here. By clearly communicating the full value of the benefits package, employees can see how their total compensation adds up beyond just their paycheck. Now, let's talk about tax treatment. Direct pay, like salaries and wages, is fully taxed, which is straightforward. Some benefits, however, can enjoy favorable tax treatment, making them more advantageous for employees. It's also important to recognize how employees perceive benefits. Often, workers tend to undervalue benefits compared to cash, even though those benefits can be a significant part of their overall compensation. Retention can be influenced by these benefits too. Unvested benefits, for example, can act as golden handcuffs, encouraging employees to stay until those benefits vest. When we think about our competitive position in the market, the emphasis on wages versus benefits varies depending on our industry and strategy. The distinction between direct and indirect compensation matters because indirect compensation, things like life insurance, tuition reimbursement, wellness programs, vacation, sick leave, holidays, and retirement plans, can represent 30 to 40% of total costs, yet it's often less visible to employees. These benefits provide valuable support that enhances overall job satisfaction. On the other hand, direct compensation directly impacts the employee's take-home income. This includes wages, overtime, shift differentials, hazard pay, commissions, profit sharing, stock options, and performance bonuses. These elements are crucial because they influence recruitment and retention more immediately. In summary, organizations use a combination of direct and indirect compensation to attract, motivate, and retain talent effectively. Understanding the distinction between these components helps us create reward systems that are both attractive and sustainable, aligning with our overall strategic goals. Understanding selective perception is crucial for managers because it helps us explain communication issues that often arise in organizations. When we recognize that everyone filters information through their own lens, we can see how diverse perspectives become vital for making better decisions. To counteract our biases, we should actively seek out disconfirming information and solicit perspectives from different people. Making our decision criteria explicit and conducting blind evaluations can also help us see beyond our assumptions. It's important to question our own interpretations because they might be colored by our existing beliefs. Now, let's look at how expectations shape our perceptions. Expectations influence our actions and often confirm what we already believe. This is what we call self-fulfilling prophecies. For example, if we have a stereotype about someone, we tend to interpret their behavior in a way that confirms that stereotype. This stereotyping can lead us to overweight confirming evidence and ignore disconfirming data, which results in suboptimal decisions. Biased decision-making occurs when we interpret messages differently based on our biases, leading to misunderstandings and communication breakdowns. In the workplace, selective perception shows up in various ways. Managers might focus only on data that supports their views, overlook contradictory information, or interpret ambiguous data to reinforce their beliefs. During performance evaluations, managers often confirm pre-existing views of employees. In change initiatives, skeptics see problems, while supporters see opportunities. In meetings, participants hear things differently depending on their interests, and analysts interpret data through their own theories. Let's also consider some common workplace examples. Selective attention makes us notice data that confirms our expectations and ignore what contradicts them. Selective interpretation leads us to interpret ambiguous information in a way that supports our beliefs. Selective retention causes us to remember confirming data more vividly than disconfirming data. And selective exposure drives us to seek out sources that reinforce our current views. So, how does all this work? This automatic process distorts our understanding of situations, how we evaluate people, and the decisions we make. It's an unconscious cognitive process where we filter and interpret information based on what we already believe. This bias can lead us to favor data that confirms our views while dismissing contradictory evidence. Recognizing how selective perception operates helps us become more aware of our biases, so we can strive for more objective, balanced decision-making. Overcoming these barriers requires deliberate leadership and a shift in organizational culture. It's important to focus on short-term results, but also to create an environment where failure isn't punished, especially in risk-averse cultures. Hierarchical structures can stifle ideas, and silos often prevent cross-functional collaboration, which is essential for innovation. Additionally, many organizations struggle because they lack resources, like time, budget, and talent, for experimentation. They also need processes in place to evaluate and develop new ideas, and a higher risk tolerance to accept potential failures as part of the learning process. Strong, supportive leadership is crucial to champion innovation and remove barriers. Fostering innovation isn't just about encouraging creativity, it's about creating systems that help turn ideas into reality. This involves rethinking how organizations create, deliver, and capture value, often leading to industry disruption, like subscription models or platform businesses. We see different types of innovation, such as business model innovation, which involves developing new ways to generate value. Process innovation, which focuses on improving efficiency and reducing costs through better methods. And product innovation, which means creating new or significantly improved products to meet customer needs. Innovation can also be seen across various dimensions: products, processes, business models, customer experiences, and organizational practices. Ultimately, innovation drives competitive advantage by providing superior value, increasing efficiency, and opening up new opportunities. It's vital for success in today's fast-changing markets. Let's remember the innovation journey starts with creativity, generating original ideas, and then moves into implementation, transforming those ideas into practical, valuable solutions. This is what we call the innovation spectrum. Successful innovation is about turning creative ideas into tangible results, whether that's new products, better processes, or innovative business models. In organizations, the focus of innovation should be on delivering real benefits to customers and creating value. It's a continuous process. First, you generate ideas, then you implement them effectively, leading to meaningful innovation. When we talk about the innovation focus in organizations, it's all about fostering an environment where creative ideas are supported and systematically turned into impactful solutions. Let's explore the managerial implications of Maslow's hierarchy in the workplace. First, it's important to meet employees' baseline needs, such as physiological and safety needs, before focusing on higher-level motivations. Creating meaningful work, offering learning opportunities, and enabling employees to fully apply their capabilities are essential for effective motivation. In today's modern work environment, especially in knowledge work, self-actualization plays a crucial role. Organizations need to provide growth opportunities beyond just pay and benefits to attract and retain top talent. Remember, money alone offers diminishing returns once basic needs are met. Employees are increasingly looking for higher-level satisfactions like belonging, recognition, and meaningful work. Unlike lower needs, self-actualization needs tend to strengthen when they are met. This means employees crave ongoing challenges and opportunities for growth, making continuous development vital for retention. Now, let's briefly review the different levels. Physiological needs include fair pay and a comfortable environment. Safety needs encompass job security, benefits, and safe working conditions. Social needs involve teamwork, belonging, and mentoring relationships. Esteem needs relate to recognition, promotions, and autonomy. And at the top, self-actualization involves engaging in challenging work, skill development, and personal growth. In workplace applications, providing fair wages covers physiological needs. Ensuring job security and safe conditions addresses safety needs. Promoting teamwork and mentoring fulfills social needs. Recognizing achievements and offering opportunities for autonomy meet esteem needs. And ultimately, offering challenging work and growth opportunities supports self-actualization. As we see, Maslow's hierarchy explains workplace motivation clearly. Lower needs must be satisfied first, but achieving self-actualization is key to fulfilling meaningful and engaging work. Effective application of positive reinforcement is absolutely crucial in shaping a healthy work culture. When we strategically reinforce good behaviors, we create an environment where work feels rewarding in itself. At the same time, we recognize and celebrate exceptional contributions, which motivates everyone to keep striving for excellence. Positive reinforcement differs significantly from fear-based punishment approaches. Instead of just telling employees what not to do, we focus on building intrinsic motivation. This approach clarifies what we expect, strengthens our relationships, and encourages repeat behaviors. To do this effectively, we need to reinforce reliably, especially when new patterns emerge. Consistency is key. Reinforce soon after the desired behavior to establish a clear connection. Be specific about what you're rewarding and explain why. It helps employees understand what behaviors are valued. Choose rewards that are meaningful to the individual, whether it's recognition, a bonus, or additional responsibilities. When reinforcing, specify the behavior you want to see and deliver the reward promptly. This immediate feedback links effort to reward clearly in their minds. For example, if an employee works extended hours to meet a tight deadline, providing a performance bonus along with recognition makes it more likely they'll repeat that effort in the future. Common workplace reinforcers include bonuses, praise, promotions, flexible schedules, or even team celebrations. Remember, behaviors followed by positive outcomes tend to be repeated. By thoughtfully linking rewards to desired actions, we encourage more of those productive behaviors, ultimately fostering a positive and motivated work environment. To get the best results, it's helpful to combine extinction with positive reinforcement for alternative, appropriate behaviors. This clearly signals to the individual what the desired actions are. Remember, Extinction requires consistency and patience. If reinforcement is applied inconsistently, it can accidentally strengthen the undesired behavior instead of reducing it. Let's look at a workplace example. Suppose an employee tends to derail meetings with tangential stories. The manager can respond by consistently ignoring these tangents, briefly pausing, and then refocusing the discussion on the agenda. Over time, the employee learns that these stories no longer gain attention, and they tend to decrease naturally. Extinction involves removing unpleasant stimuli to increase desirable behavior. It's important to distinguish it from other strategies like negative reinforcement, applying negative consequences, or punishment. Extinction is simply ignoring the behavior until it diminishes. It's not suitable for serious violations such as safety or ethics breaches, harmful behaviors, or situations needing immediate intervention. However, it works well for attention-seeking behaviors, minor nuisances, or behaviors that have been unintentionally encouraged. A key point to remember is that extinction means ignoring the behavior, not punishing it. Punishment involves applying negative consequences, whereas extinction involves withdrawing attention or reinforcement. Both can reduce behavior, but they do so through different mechanisms. The process begins with identifying the reinforcement, maintaining the behavior, and consistently withholding it. You might see an extinction burst, where the behavior temporarily increases before it starts to decrease. Over time, the behavior gradually diminishes and eventually stops. Many behaviors persist because they are accidentally reinforced. Extinction helps break this cycle by withholding reinforcement, causing the behavior to fade when it no longer produces the desired outcome. Essentially, extinction weakens unwanted behaviors by not giving them attention or reinforcement. In summary, understanding extinction within reinforcement theory means recognizing that ignoring a behavior, rather than punishing it, can effectively reduce it over time. It's a powerful tool when applied consistently and appropriately. Let's explore the difference between ratio and interval schedules. Ratio schedules focus on responses, meaning reinforcement depends on how many responses are made, while interval schedules are based on time intervals. Generally, ratio schedules tend to produce higher response rates because the reward is directly tied to effort. Understanding this distinction is key to designing effective incentive systems. For example, fixed ratio schedules, like piecework pay, motivate workers to produce a set number of units, say, a bonus after 5 sales. While effective for encouraging effort, they can sometimes lead to rushing and sacrificing quality, or create feast-famine patterns where effort varies greatly. Now, let's look at the results these schedules typically produce. With fixed ratio schedules, you usually see a moderate but steady rate of responses. An example might be random quality checks, where reinforcement is given unpredictably after a set number of responses. Moving on to interval schedules, these focus on time. Variable interval schedules reinforce responses after unpredictable time periods, like weekly paychecks. The pattern here is reinforcement after a set or unpredictable amount of time, which tends to increase activity as the designated time approaches. Fixed interval schedules, on the other hand, reinforce responses after set periods, like slot machines, which pay out after certain time intervals. This results in very high, steady performance, and responses tend to be resistant to extinction. When we talk about variable ratio schedules, these reinforce responses after a set but unpredictable number of responses. Think of earning a bonus after 5 sales. This creates high, steady response rates with brief pauses, which makes it very effective for maintaining motivation. Fixed ratio schedules, such as FR1, reward every response, useful for establishing new behaviors. FR5 rewards after 5 responses, and FR10 after 10 responses, like free meals after 10 purchases. In terms of pay structures, piecework pay is a classic example, pay per unit produced, and applies well to fixed ratio schedules. These schedules offer a predictable link between effort and reward, encouraging consistent performance and sustained effort. To sum up, Fixed ratio schedules deliver reinforcement after a set number of responses, leading to high and steady performance. They're straightforward and effective for many incentive programs, but it's important to recognize their potential downsides, like rushing or pauses after reinforcement. Understanding these different schedules helps us tailor incentive systems to motivate the desired behaviors effectively, whether we want steady effort, increased activity as deadlines approach, or sustained performance over time. Let's explore how these capabilities, management and leadership, are essential and interconnected. These skills aren't tied to specific job titles. In fact, the same person might need to embody both at different times. Organizations thrive when they balance visionary leadership with operational excellence. Management helps us cope with complexity and ensures consistency, while leadership drives change and motivates transformation. A classic way to differentiate them is to remember, managers do things right, focusing on efficiency and execution, whereas leaders do the right things, setting the vision and inspiring action. Both are critical for success. So, how do we sustain performance? It starts with maintaining operations, keeping everything running smoothly. Then, we need to ask ourselves what must be different to grow and adapt. This leads us to drive change, which is essential for staying competitive. Enabling effective execution involves establishing the right structures and organizing resources efficiently. To keep everyone committed, we must inspire action, engaging teams and fostering motivation. Getting there involves creating clear plans and setting a compelling vision for the future. Remember, planning and organization help us allocate resources effectively, while stability and control ensure consistent performance. Monitoring progress and optimizing processes are vital to meeting our targets. On the management side, internal focus emphasizes coordinating activities and maintaining operational efficiency. On the leadership side, the focus shifts outward, setting future directions, responding to external opportunities, and driving transformation through innovation. Ultimately, leadership and management are distinct but equally vital. They work together to ensure our organizations not only perform well today, but also evolve and succeed in the future. While modern trends often challenge the idea of legitimate power, it still remains a crucial element for maintaining clear roles and ensuring the basic functions of an organization. Effective leaders know how to use legitimate power wisely, often combining it with other types of power like expert, referent, and reward power to foster genuine commitment rather than just compliance. It's important to understand the difference here. Compliance means people are doing what they're told, but commitment means they truly believe in what they're doing. Legitimate power is generally limited to formal boundaries, what's within their official role, and there is always a potential for abuse if misused. Now, let's look at the key advantages. Unlike other power sources, legitimate power relies on accepting the authority itself, not on personal qualities or specific incentives. This makes it a reliable way to ensure coordination and accountability across the organization. However, there are limitations too. Because this power is bound by the position, exceeding those limits often leads to resistance. It depends on clear accountability, efficient coordination, and consistent decision-making, but it can be limited if overused or misapplied. Think of it this way. A manager's power to assign tasks comes directly from their role, not from personal traits. This power comes from formal job titles, hierarchy, job descriptions, organizational policies, and cultural norms of respect. Subordinates accept this power because they recognize the right of the position to make decisions and expect obedience within those defined boundaries. Essentially, legitimate power comes from one's formal position or role, often called positional power, which helps ensure organization runs smoothly through established authority. In organizational hierarchy, this power is vital because it provides structure and clarity. Leaders must balance the use of legitimate power carefully, using it to direct and coordinate, but also recognizing when exceeding those bounds could lead to pushback or resistance. So, in summary, Legitimate power is a foundational aspect of leadership and organizational functioning, grounded in formal authority, but it must be used judiciously to maintain trust and effectiveness. Effective communicators understand that choosing the right communication channel is crucial. For example, when dealing with complex or sensitive topics, oral communication is often the best choice because it allows for immediate feedback and the use of multiple channels like tone, expressions, and body language. On the other hand, written communication is better suited for sharing information that needs to be permanent or widely distributed, since it creates a lasting record. However, channel mismatch, using the wrong channel for a particular message, can lead to misunderstandings or failures. For instance, trying to resolve a sensitive issue via email may lack the nuance needed, or relying solely on video conferencing might not fully capture the richness of in-person interactions. Video calls are great for bridging distance, but they can't fully replicate the depth of face-to-face conversations. When it comes to oral communication, it's often considered the richest medium because it's ideal for explaining complex, ambiguous, or emotionally charged situations. It allows for immediate feedback, which helps clarify misunderstandings on the spot. But it's important to remember that oral messages are not automatically recorded unless explicitly documented, and synchronous availability is required, meaning everyone needs to be present at the same time. Oral communication can be inefficient for broadcasting information broadly, especially when the same message needs to reach many people. Plus, there are memory limitations. Details can be forgotten or misremembered over time. Geographic constraints can also pose a challenge, but video conferencing helps to some extent by connecting dispersed teams. Now, let's consider when oral communication works best. It's especially useful for discussing complex topics that require explanation and interactive clarification, or for sensitive issues like performance feedback or conflicts. It's also invaluable for rapid decision-making in time-sensitive situations, and for building relationships, fostering trust, and a sense of connection. Persuasion, negotiation, motivating action, all these benefit from the personal touch of oral interaction. Ambiguous situations become clearer through iterative discussion, which reduces misunderstandings. Speed and efficiency are key advantages. Oral communication allows for faster brainstorming, quick decisions, and handling sensitive issues more effectively than lengthy email exchanges. It fosters stronger bonds because presence and engagement matter. When you're speaking directly, you can convey emotional content through voice, expressions, and body language, which helps strengthen relationships and prevent misinterpretation. Tone and emotion are more easily communicated orally, enabling instant clarification and understanding. This accelerates problem-solving and reduces errors. Overall, oral communication excels over written methods in building relationships and enabling rapid exchanges, especially when nuance and emotional context are important. So, in summary, choosing the right channel depends on the situation. Oral communication is powerful for complexity, sensitivity, speed, and relationship building, but it's essential to match the medium to the message to ensure effective and meaningful communication. This technique requires practice and discipline. It means suppressing ego to truly understand another's perspective and acknowledging views, even when you disagree. These behaviors transform communication effectiveness. Active listening is critical for leaders because it provides better information for decision-making, helps identify problems earlier, and builds stronger teams. It reveals underlying concerns and assumptions, uncovering hidden issues that might not be immediately obvious. It also demonstrates that you value others' input, which in turn builds trust and strengthens relationships. By fostering open and honest communication, active listening encourages open dialogue, clarifies ambiguities, and prevents mistakes. To do this effectively, maintain eye contact and an attentive posture, use nonverbal encouragers like nodding, and avoid interrupting. Asking open-ended questions and paraphrasing to confirm understanding are also key. It's important to acknowledge emotions and suspend judgment, creating a safe space for genuine conversation. Minimize distractions to stay fully present. Remember, poor listening can lead to misunderstandings, So active listening focuses on understanding the speaker's perspective, not just waiting to speak. Retain key points, give feedback, acknowledge feelings, and respond thoughtfully. Grasp both content and emotion, giving complete attention and minimizing distractions. Fully concentrate on what's being said. Active listening is a vital communication technique that helps us understand messages better, respond more thoughtfully, and ultimately, strengthen our relationships and effectiveness as leaders. When managing teams, it's crucial to foster both strong relationships and high standards at the same time. The most effective teams are those that balance team building with clear expectations and accountability, which leads to exceptional results. However, there's a potential danger if cohesiveness develops around negative norms. For example, if strong bonds form around low performance or counterproductive behaviors, it can make the group resistant to change. Overcoming these negative norms often requires bringing in new members or making leadership changes. To build cohesiveness, I focus on selecting compatible team members, encouraging positive interactions, and creating a sense of psychological safety where everyone feels comfortable sharing ideas. Celebrating successes also helps strengthen bonds. Establishing positive norms involves setting clear expectations, modeling the desired behaviors, rewarding high standards, and addressing poor performance promptly. This creates a culture of accountability and excellence. Achieving the ideal mix of cohesion and positive norms requires deliberate effort. For instance, teams with strong bonds tend to have about 40% lower voluntary turnover, meaning people are more likely to stay. Over 85% of members in such high-performing teams report high job satisfaction, which is a great indicator of engagement. Moreover, highly cohesive teams with positive norms often perform 2 to 3 times better than fragmented teams. Conversely, if cohesion is high but norms are negative, productivity can suffer despite the strong bonds. The worst scenario is low cohesion combined with negative norms, leading to poor productivity and minimal engagement. On the other hand, high cohesion paired with positive norms results in the highest productivity and effectiveness. Let's consider the 4 possible scenarios. When there's strong commitment, positive peer pressure, knowledge sharing, and seamless coordination. These factors foster resilience, innovation, and overall team success. So, why does this combination of high cohesiveness and positive norms work so well? Because it creates an environment where members are motivated to go the extra mile, support each other, share knowledge freely, and coordinate seamlessly. This combination leads to outstanding effectiveness, supports success, and delivers exceptional results. In summary, team effectiveness really hinges on the interaction between bonds and work standards. When managed thoughtfully, this interaction can produce 4 distinct scenarios, each impacting productivity differently. But the best scenario is clear. High cohesiveness with positive norms drives teams to perform at their best. Understanding the process and boundaries is absolutely key. It's important to clearly communicate what decisions are being made, what input we are seeking, the decision methods we plan to use, any constraints we need to consider, and how we'll communicate the final outcomes. This clarity helps prevent frustration and confusion within the team. When it comes to decision-making styles, the team can decide independently, which fosters maximum ownership and is known as a delegative approach. This is where team members have the autonomy to make decisions on their own. Alternatively, the group can decide together, which encourages the highest level of buy-in and commitment. We call this participative decision-making because everyone has a voice. In between, there's the consultative approach, where the leader seeks input from the team, but then makes the decision. This method offers moderate buy-in, balancing efficiency with involvement. And then there's the autocratic style, where the leader makes the decision alone. This can be efficient, especially in urgent situations, but usually results in minimal buy-in from the team. However, it's important to recognize that participation isn't always suitable. Rapid decisions, emergencies, highly technical issues, or situations with confidentiality constraints may limit the use of participative methods. Effective leaders understand that matching their decision approach to the specific situation is crucial. Beyond just reducing conflict, involving team members in decisions actually improves the quality of those decisions. Diverse expertise leads to better solutions, and the process speeds up implementation. Plus, it helps develop team members' skills and strengthens overall cohesion. Participation also builds members' decision-making capabilities. When team members support decisions they helped shape, they feel more invested. Support for implementation grows because they understand the reasoning behind the choices. Genuine participation is essential. Leaders need to genuinely consider input, not just ask for it and ignore it. True participation means listening carefully, considering what's shared, and explaining how that input influenced the final decision. This authenticity creates an ownership effect. Members are more likely to support decisions they helped create. It also fosters understanding, which reduces suspicion and resistance. When concerns are aired early, objections can be addressed during decision-making, rather than during implementation. Collaboration encourages compromise, making it easier to find middle ground. And feeling valued and respected naturally enhances cooperation among team members, strengthening those bonds. So, by involving team members in decision-making, we not only reduce conflict but also improve cooperation. It builds understanding, addresses concerns proactively, and turns resistance into support. Involving the team in decisions truly enhances decision quality and improves team dynamics. When team members have a genuine voice, they develop ownership and commitment, and we gain valuable perspectives that might otherwise be missed. Ultimately, participation isn't just about getting input. It's about creating a shared sense of responsibility and commitment to the choices we make together. Cohesiveness itself is neutral, meaning it can work for us or against us depending on the norms it amplifies. When strong bonds form around high standards, they can help build exceptional teams. But if those bonds revolve around low standards, they can lead to underperformance that's hard to break. That's why managers need to actively shape the norms within their teams. It's crucial to establish positive norms right from the start. Address any performance issues promptly before they become ingrained. Ensuring fair treatment is also key. If people feel they are treated unfairly, they may band together defensively, protecting underperformers rather than challenging poor standards. Recognizing and rewarding high performance helps reinforce the right behaviors. Prevention is always better than cure. Introducing influential new members can help shift norms, while restructuring the team or changing leadership can reset the group's dynamics. Setting clear accountability ensures everyone knows what's expected. But beware, simply encouraging people to work harder doesn't always work, because strong social pressures can make individuals hesitant to stand out or challenge the group. When it comes to addressing negative norms, the problem is that cohesion often protects low standards, leading to persistent underperformance and frustration. There's a paradox here. Members feel intense conformity pressure because they fear losing valued relationships if they deviate from the norm. This social identity often outweighs organizational goals. This persistence of negative norms often stems from perceived mistreatment, poor leadership, or a lack of active enforcement. The result can be strong bonds that are more about loyalty than productivity. Members defend each other against accountability, resist feedback, and high performers may feel pressured to slow down or conform to the group's low standards. Complaints about unrealistic expectations and collective opposition to change are common. Loyalty among members can be a warning sign, yet it often masks norms that prioritize minimal effort and resistance to authority. Social pressure enforces these low standards, which ultimately undermine performance. High performers might even face ostracism, and the group resists management efforts to improve. The core problem here is that these highly cohesive groups with negative norms present a significant management challenge. Their strong internal bonds paradoxically reinforce low standards rather than fostering excellence, making it difficult to drive improvement or change. In summary, understanding how cohesion interacts with norms is crucial. It's not just about building team spirit, but about ensuring that the norms we foster lead to high performance, not underachievement. Effective control is all about finding the right balance. It combines setting clear standards and holding people accountable, while also encouraging initiative. To do this well, we need objective measurement, a results-oriented approach, and enough flexibility to adapt as needed. If control is poorly implemented, it can either overlook problems or create unnecessary rigidity that stifles innovation. Control systems guide behavior through organizational design, policies, procedures, and reward systems. These elements shape how people act and ensure alignment with organizational goals. Structural control, for example, involves tracking monetary resources, budgets, ratios, and managing costs effectively. Financial control focuses on daily activities, making sure they meet standards for efficiency, quality, and productivity. Operational control keeps an eye on the ongoing activities to ensure they operate smoothly and meet performance standards. Meanwhile, strategic control looks at the bigger picture, monitoring whether the organization's overall direction aligns with environmental changes and long-term objectives. It's also critical that our control systems provide reliable and useful information. That means data must be accurate, timely, and objective. Accuracy ensures the data reflects reality so we can make confident decisions. Timeliness means information needs to be current and available when we need it. And objectivity means measurements should be based on facts, free from bias. When establishing control, we start by setting clear standards, defining what success looks like in measurable terms. Then, we measure performance by collecting objective data on actual results. Next, we compare these results to our standards to spot variances or deviations. Finally, we take corrective actions to fix issues or adjust standards as needed. The control process is essential because it helps organizations detect problems early, guide decision-making, coordinate activities, motivate teams, and ensure compliance. Without effective control, organizations operate blindly, risking inefficiency and failure. Organizational control is how managers make sure activities stay aligned with plans, meet goals, and make good use of resources. It's about verifying results and enabling us to make adjustments for continuous improvement. Ultimately, effective control is a core part of successful management and organizational health. Managers must carefully design systems that ensure these key characteristics are met, because verifying data quality and promoting timely, integrated information are essential for making effective decisions. When we talk about measurement error, it often comes from faulty instruments or inconsistent procedures, which can distort our understanding of the situation. Gaming or data manipulation is another challenge, where individuals might alter data to meet targets rather than reflect reality. Lag time refers to information arriving too late to take meaningful action, while bias involves personal influences that can skew the data. Relevance is about making sure we're measuring the right things. If we're tracking the wrong metrics, all our efforts can be misguided. Now, when we look at common control system failures, it's clear that effective systems strike a balance among these factors. For example, having data that's accurate but delayed doesn't help us make timely decisions. Conversely, timely data that's inaccurate can lead us to poor choices. And if the data we rely on is objective but comes too late or isn't accurate, the whole system becomes ineffective. These elements, accuracy, timeliness, and objectivity, work together. A weakness in one area can compromise the entire system. Let's talk about these concepts more closely. Objectivity means measurements are fact-based and free from bias. This is crucial because it ensures our control systems are credible and trustworthy. We achieve objectivity through quantitative measures, clear criteria, and independent assessments. Timeliness, on the other hand, means having current information available exactly when we need it. This enables us to be proactive rather than reactive, often achieved through automated collection and real-time reporting. Lastly, accuracy is about ensuring our data reflects the actual conditions without errors. Reliable methods, validation, and audits help us maintain this accuracy and prevent misguided decisions or wasted resources. In summary, effective control depends on these three key characteristics: accuracy, timeliness, and objectivity. When they work together, they form a solid foundation for sound decision-making, helping us manage processes confidently and effectively. This slide highlights a significant conceptual shift in how we think about inventory management. Traditionally, in manufacturing, the focus was on managing physical goods, raw materials, work-in-progress finished products stored in warehouses. But now, especially as economies move toward service industries, the principles are evolving. The core ideas like balancing capacity and demand, minimizing waste, meaning unused capacity, and optimizing resource utilization remain essential. However, understanding service-specific inventory management becomes critical because services are different from physical goods. For example, in healthcare, we manage operating room schedules, physician availability, and bed capacity. In professional services, it's about allocating consultant time across various projects. Airlines use yield management to price and allocate seat inventory efficiently. Hotels manage room inventory through dynamic pricing and reservation systems. The key point here is that service inventory management focuses on time and capacity allocation, scheduling appointments, minimizing wait times, maximizing utilization, flexing capacity, and employing dynamic pricing strategies. These concerns replace the traditional focus on physical storage and handling. Unlike manufacturing, where inventory can be stockpiled, services require simultaneous production and delivery. This creates a simultaneity challenge. For instance, an empty hotel room or an unsold airline seat doesn't generate future revenue. Once missed, that opportunity is lost forever. This brings us to the critical difference: perishability. Service capacity is perishable. If unused, it's gone. Controlling this involves appointment systems, capacity planning, yield management, queue management, and staffing models. Since capacity cannot be stored, managing demand fluctuations, matching supply with demand, and controlling wait times are vital. Scheduling skilled labor becomes an integral part of this process. Now, in the service sector, inventory management is more about managing time, capacity, and expertise, things that are intangible. This is different from traditional inventory management, which focused on physical products, raw materials, and finished goods, often managed through techniques like EOQ, reorder points, or ABC analysis. Ultimately, this shift from manufacturing to service sector inventory management reflects the need to adapt our strategies to manage intangible resources effectively. It's about ensuring that capacity is used efficiently, demand is met, and revenue opportunities are maximized, all within the context of services' unique characteristics. The goal here is to maximize revenue and customer satisfaction while also minimizing wasted capacity and wait times. Technology like workforce management systems and AI can really support us in managing our service inventory more effectively. But it's important to remember that human judgment still plays a critical role, especially when it comes to making capacity investments and setting service standards. Let's talk about some key service metrics. The utilization rate indicates the percentage of capacity we're actually using. Wait time measures how long customers are waiting, and the service level shows the percentage of demand we're able to meet. We also look at revenue per available hour, no-show rates, and other important indicators. To manage capacity, we can adjust to demand using strategies like variable staffing, think part-time workers, cross-training staff for flexibility, leveraging technology, and outsourcing during peak times. On the flip side, we can also influence demand through dynamic pricing, offering advance reservations, running off-peak promotions, and educating customers about the best times to visit. Capacity management strategies include utilizing online reservations, automated reminders, and efficient grouping to optimize our capacity and create a smoother demand flow. Scheduling systems are vital. They help us balance the perishable nature of our service capacity with fluctuating demand. Forecasting, dynamic pricing, and flexible staffing all help us avoid waste and customer frustration. Ensuring that our skilled staff are available when needed is another key point. We need to track skills, plan staff development, and use cross-training to increase flexibility. And strategically scheduling employee time to match demand is crucial. Unused time is essentially lost revenue. Finally, effective service inventory management is about handling intangible resources, time, expertise, and availability. It's about orchestrating these perishable resources to meet changing demand, minimize waste, and deliver the best possible customer experience. Now, modern organizations often supplement their charts with network diagrams or process maps to give a more comprehensive view. However, despite these newer tools, org charts still hold value. They provide basic clarity and accountability, especially when they are kept up to date. It's important to remember that charts have limitations. They primarily show the formal structure of the organization, but they don't capture informal relationships or networks. Plus, they can quickly become outdated if not maintained, and they tend to oversimplify complex organizational structures. That said, org charts are useful aids in several key areas. They help with redesign efforts, succession planning, and workforce planning. They serve as a planning tool by visually mapping out formal channels for coordination and communication pathways. Clear reporting lines help define responsibilities, which reduces confusion and promotes accountability. For new employees, these charts are invaluable for understanding the structure and their roles within it. They clarify who reports to whom, the hierarchy levels, and the different departments or teams. They also illustrate the span of control, that is, how many direct reports a manager has, along with roles, authority, and formal power structures. In terms of what these charts typically show, they often depict a hierarchical structure with a top-down view, emphasizing clear authority lines. Some organizations prefer a flat chart with few levels, promoting decentralization. Others might use a matrix format, illustrating dual reporting relationships with solid and dotted lines. Circular charts focus on collaboration, arranged in concentric circles. Most charts use boxes to represent roles, with lines indicating reporting relationships. Vertical placement usually shows authority levels, while horizontal groupings indicate departments. These visual cues help us understand power structures and communication flows within the organization. Ultimately, organizational charts visually depict how the organization is structured, including reporting relationships, hierarchy, departments, and lines of authority. They help clarify roles and show how different parts of the organization work together, making complex structures easier to understand. While charts are incredibly useful, they don't automatically guarantee effectiveness. They help document the structure of an organization, but true success depends on using them appropriately, with thoughtful design and wise authority. Think of charts as tools that promote clarity, accountability, and serve as a solid foundation for success. As organizations grow, organizational charts become even more valuable. For expanding teams, having formal documentation is essential for maintaining clarity and ensuring smooth coordination. This helps prevent confusion and inefficiencies that can arise when roles and responsibilities are not clearly defined. It's important to keep these charts updated regularly. Make sure they are easily accessible to everyone who needs them, and consider supplementing them with detailed job descriptions. Using charts actively in planning processes can really maximize their value. Now, what are some of the key benefits? First, charts communicate the coordination needs across departments. They promote transparency by making the structure visible to all employees. They also foster consistency, helping everyone develop a common understanding of how the organization is structured. When changes happen, charts are vital for change management, providing clear communication about new reporting lines or responsibilities. In some industries, maintaining accurate charts is also a matter of compliance. Additionally, external stakeholders, like partners or clients, can better understand your organization through these visual tools. Beyond these immediate benefits, organizational charts serve as strategic tools for designing and developing your organization. They assist in analyzing control spans, planning reorganizations, and support succession planning and resource allocation. In terms of onboarding and development, new employees can quickly grasp the structure, understand reporting lines, and see how departments fit together. This accelerates their integration and reduces confusion. When it comes to onboarding and training, charts help eliminate reporting ambiguities, clarify roles, and prevent disputes. Ultimately, organizational charts are vital for effective management. They clarify roles, enhance accountability, and support many core functions of the organization. When used correctly, they really become a powerful tool for driving organizational success. Effective HRM is all about balancing the needs of employees with the goals of management, while also considering organizational capabilities and regulatory requirements. When done right, it creates win-win solutions that benefit everyone involved. Recognizing people as key assets is crucial because strong HRM practices help us attract and retain top talent, boost engagement, and reduce turnover. These are essential for gaining a competitive advantage in today's dynamic environment. Aligning HR with business strategy is fundamental. It involves workforce planning to ensure we have the right people in the right roles, building a strong organizational culture, and developing leadership capabilities to sustain growth. Additionally, HR enhances organizational effectiveness and supports change initiatives to keep us agile and responsive. Modern HRM partners closely with leadership, focusing on strategic areas like designing fair compensation and benefits, setting clear performance expectations, providing meaningful feedback, and conducting evaluations. It also involves managing employee relations by handling grievances and fostering a positive work environment. Compliance with employment laws and safety standards remains a core responsibility, along with managing employee data and payroll through HR information systems. Beyond these core functions, HRM is vital for retaining valuable employees by offering competitive pay, career development opportunities, a positive culture, and promoting work-life balance, reducing costly turnover in the process. Training and development are equally important, as they enhance employee capabilities through orientation, technical training, and leadership programs. This not only improves individual performance, but also fuels organizational growth. When it comes to recruitment and selection, HRM ensures we attract and hire qualified candidates who are a good fit for our culture. This includes defining roles, sourcing candidates, screening, and conducting interviews, making sure we bring in the right talent from the start. In essence, HRM manages the entire employee lifecycle, from attracting talent to developing and retaining it, because people truly are our most valuable assets. All of these elements connect back to the overall theme of creating a sustainable, successful organization by aligning human resources with strategic objectives. Effective HR requires a diverse set of skills, including legal knowledge, strong interpersonal abilities, analytical thinking, and business insight. These skills are essential to attract, develop, and retain talent, ensuring that everyone is treated fairly and that the organization succeeds. Now, let's talk about the HR tech revolution. Modern HR leverages technology such as applicant tracking systems, learning management systems, and artificial intelligence. These tools help boost efficiency and allow HR teams to focus more on strategic initiatives rather than manual tasks. Diversity, equity, and inclusion are also at the forefront. Creating inclusive cultures and building representative workforces are vital for fostering innovation and engagement across the organization. Workforce analytics is another key area. By using data effectively, HR can make better decisions and support strategic planning, helping the organization stay agile and responsive to changing needs. Employee experience is about designing positive moments throughout the entire employee lifecycle, from onboarding to development and beyond, to keep employees motivated and engaged. With the rise of remote and hybrid work, managing distributed teams has become more important than ever. Maintaining a strong culture and ensuring effective communication are critical to success in these environments. Supporting employee well-being is also a priority. Programs that focus on physical, mental, and financial health help create a healthier, more productive workforce. Now, moving on to emerging HR priorities. Ensuring compliance with employment laws, like Equal Employment Opportunity, Fair Labor Standards Act, Family and Medical Leave Act, and Americans with Disabilities Act, is fundamental to avoid legal issues and promote fairness. Legal compliance is about managing employer-employee relations, resolving conflicts, handling complaints, and fostering a positive work environment that aligns with legal standards. Designing total rewards involves not just salaries, but also incentives, health and retirement plans, and flexible perks that attract and retain talent. Performance management is equally important. Setting clear criteria, providing regular feedback, documenting performance, and linking these to compensation and development are key to employee growth and organizational success. Lastly, HR departments handle a broad range of responsibilities beyond these core functions. They play a vital role throughout the employee lifecycle, ensuring that people management practices support the overall goals of the organization. While decentralization offers many benefits, it also comes with certain challenges, such as inconsistency and difficulties in coordination. Most organizations find a balance by centralizing strategic decisions while decentralizing operational choices. This approach allows top management to focus on overarching strategies, helping to prevent bottlenecks that can slow down decision-making. Decentralization also reduces the executive burden because employees gain more autonomy, which can boost job satisfaction and make them feel more valued. When employees are empowered to make decisions, it enhances motivation and engagement across the organization. Delegating decision-making also helps build management capabilities and leadership skills at various levels. This is especially important for developing future leaders and ensuring the organization can sustain growth. Another key point is responsiveness. When decision-makers are closer to the local context, they can respond more quickly to opportunities or problems, increasing overall responsiveness. Now, looking at the spectrum of decision-making, we see different levels of centralization. Highly centralized organizations rely on top-down decisions and tight control. Moderately decentralized organizations combine centralized strategy with local operational autonomy. Highly decentralized organizations, on the other hand, offer maximum flexibility but may face risks of inconsistency. The core characteristic here is how authority flows downward, empowering managers and employees to make decisions that are focused on local needs and customer satisfaction. Decentralization distributes this decision-making authority, giving lower levels the autonomy to handle routine choices and respond effectively to their specific contexts. In summary, decentralized decision-making encourages faster decisions, fosters an entrepreneurial spirit, and promotes innovation, key drivers for organizations looking to remain agile and competitive in a rapidly changing environment. The optimal degree of decentralization really depends on the specific context. It tends to work well in dynamic and diverse markets, where flexibility and local responsiveness are key. On the other hand, centralization is often better when consistency and strategic alignment across the organization are more critical. Technology can certainly support distributed decision-making, making decentralization more feasible, but it's important to remember that culture and development remain crucial factors in making it successful. Decentralization thrives when you have capable managers in place. Building management capabilities before delegating authority is essential to avoid struggles and ensure smooth operations. That's where the so-called capability paradox comes in. To succeed, you need capable managers, people who are competent decision makers at all levels. You also need clear boundaries, so everyone understands their decision-making scope and access to adequate information, relevant data and expertise to make informed choices. Coordination mechanisms are also vital. They help prevent conflicts between units by ensuring smooth cooperation. And accountability systems, such as clear metrics and regular reviews, keep decisions aligned with organizational goals. All of these factors form the foundation for effective decentralization. Focusing on these critical success factors provides hands-on development for managers, strengthening the leadership pipeline through practical experience. This develops leadership capacity within the organization and prepares managers to handle more responsibility confidently. Decentralization also speeds up decision-making by empowering the right individuals at the right time, which helps prevent delays and missed opportunities. It reduces bottlenecks by pushing decision authority closer to the front lines. Moreover, decentralization fosters psychological ownership, initiative, and accountability among employees. When people feel ownership over their work, they're more motivated and engaged, which attracts high performers to the organization. It also builds autonomy and ownership by empowering employees to experiment and take initiative. This encourages continuous improvement and helps avoid bureaucratic delays that stifle innovation. Speaking of innovation, decentralization offers significant benefits here as well. It enhances adaptability and engagement, making organizations more responsive to changing environments. However, it's important to recognize that decentralization also comes with challenges and prerequisites that need to be addressed thoughtfully. In summary, decentralization can be a powerful approach, but its success depends on understanding the context, developing capable managers, establishing clear boundaries, and fostering a culture of accountability and continuous improvement. When done right, it can lead to greater innovation, faster decisions, and a more engaged workforce. Many organizations face challenges when implementing matrix structures because of their inherent complexity. Effective management in such environments requires a certain level of organizational maturity and capability. Success depends on cultivating a mature culture, developing strong interpersonal skills, and mastering conflict resolution. It also requires leadership that can balance competing priorities effectively. Matrix organizations tend to work best in complex, dynamic environments like aerospace or technology sectors, where both functional expertise and product integration are critical. However, there are some inherent challenges we need to be aware of. For example, ambiguity arises because of dual authority, which can lead to conflicting demands and priorities. Decisions tend to be slower because coordinating across multiple dimensions involves negotiation and consensus building. There's also increased potential for conflict, as functional managers and project managers often compete for resources. This can increase stress for employees, who must navigate dual reporting lines and multiple expectations. Despite these challenges, matrix structures offer significant advantages. For instance, specialists can work across multiple projects, sharing knowledge and maintaining their technical depth. This broadens their perspective and fosters professional growth. It also allows for rapid reallocation of specialized talent, which enhances organizational agility. Resources can shift dynamically to where they're needed most. Additionally, matrix organizations formalize cooperation across functional boundaries. Cross-functional teams bring together diverse expertise, which improves decision quality and helps break down silos. When deciding on a matrix type, it depends on whether functional excellence or project focus is more critical. In a strong matrix, project managers hold primary authority. In a balanced matrix, power is roughly shared between functional and project managers. And in a weak matrix, functional managers retain most authority, with project managers mainly coordinating efforts. The structure creates a grid. Functional hierarchies are vertical, and products or projects are horizontal. Employees report to both. Unlike traditional functional or product-only structures, the matrix overlays these dimensions, providing a hybrid approach. For example, an engineer reports to their engineering manager, but also to a project manager for specific assignments. Overall, matrix structures combine functional and product reporting, creating a dual authority system that leverages both specialized expertise and project focus. This hybrid design can be very effective, but it requires careful management to navigate its complexities. Let's talk about how modern approaches like Agile often embody matrix principles, even when there aren't permanent dual reporting lines. For example, they rely heavily on cross-functional teams which bring together diverse expertise to drive projects forward efficiently. Technology plays a key role here, enhancing this effectiveness through virtual collaboration tools and transparent information sharing, making it easier for teams to stay aligned no matter where they are. Now, to make this work smoothly, clear roles and responsibilities are essential. Everyone needs to understand their specific contributions, and strong interpersonal and diplomatic skills are vital to foster collaboration and resolve conflicts quickly. Transparent communication channels help ensure that everyone stays informed, and balanced power dynamics encourage open dialogue and shared decision-making. Active support from senior leadership is another critical success factor. Leaders who champion these structures set the tone for a culture that embraces the complexity and ambiguity inherent in matrix environments. What do we need to succeed? Well, organizations often juggle dual strategic priorities, like leveraging specialized expertise while ensuring integration across functions. Complex projects that require cross-specialty coordination, resource constraints, and shifting priorities all demand broad knowledge sharing. A mature organizational culture that embraces ambiguity is crucial here. So, when does the matrix approach work best? It balances competing priorities, such as functional efficiency versus product success, leading to decisions that benefit the entire organization. Cross-functional teams help break down silos, improving coordination and decision-making by incorporating diverse perspectives. This also reduces rework. Sharing specialized expertise across projects prevents duplication, cuts costs, and ensures full utilization of resources. Plus, it allows for rapid reallocation of resources, which is critical for responding quickly to changing priorities, making organizations more agile in dynamic environments. Ultimately, matrix structures excel because they combine functional expertise with cross-functional integration, offering a level of flexibility that traditional models often can't match. This approach enables organizations to be more responsive, collaborative, and effective in achieving their goals. Benchmarking really came into the spotlight in the 1980s, thanks to Xerox, and it showed how powerful it can be for driving meaningful improvements. The key to successful benchmarking is keeping an open mind and being willing to learn from others. It's not about copying blindly, but rather critically thinking about how to adapt practices to fit our own context. When we benchmark, we compare our fundamental processes against top performers to identify gaps and opportunities. There are different levels of comparison. At a generic level across industries, which helps us see broad innovations. At a functional level, comparing similar functions across sectors. Against direct competitors, to understand where we stand in our market. And internally, by comparing different units within our organization. The main benefits of benchmarking include revealing areas where we're lagging, setting realistic goals based on proven achievements, and accelerating learning by understanding others' experiences. It also stimulates innovation through exposure to new approaches, builds urgency to motivate change, validates our current practices, and ultimately helps us identify key processes or metrics to improve. The process involves selecting the right partners, leaders in the areas we want to improve, collecting performance data, analyzing gaps and their causes, and understanding what makes top performers successful. Then, we set achievable targets based on these proven capabilities, implement the best practices, and continuously monitor our progress to close those gaps. In essence, benchmarking reveals how leading organizations achieve superior results by detailing their methods and practices, providing us with valuable insights for adaptation. It's a systematic way to compare our practices and performances to industry leaders, uncover innovative approaches, and set realistic, achievable goals for improvement. This aligns perfectly with our overall theme of continuous improvement and striving for excellence. Now, let's talk about how modern tools like industry databases and analytics are transforming benchmarking. These tools significantly enhance our ability to compare performance and identify best practices. But of course, success in benchmarking doesn't just come from data. It requires an open mind, a willingness to critically adapt, and continuous integration of these insights into our management processes. When we look at customer-facing metrics, things like customer satisfaction scores, or CSAT, and Net Promoter Scores, NPS, are crucial. They tell us how our customers perceive us and how likely they are to recommend our services. Order accuracy is another key metric. It's directly tied to customer trust and loyalty. Moving to human resources, metrics such as recruitment time, employee turnover, and training effectiveness help us understand how well we're managing our workforce. These indicators are vital for maintaining a strong, engaged team. On the financial side, we focus on profit margins, cost per transaction, and revenue per employee. These metrics highlight the financial health of our operations and where we can improve efficiency. In operations and processes, we look at cycle times, logistics efficiency, customer service response times, and quality rates. Improving these areas can lead to significant gains in productivity and customer satisfaction. Now, considering the applications of benchmarking, we have several types. Common applications involve comparing universal processes, like hearing, against the best-in-class performers, no matter their industry. This helps us adopt proven practices across the board. Generic benchmarking involves looking at similar functions across different industries, such as logistics. This broad perspective can provide us with diverse insights and innovative ideas. Functional benchmarking is about comparing ourselves directly against competitors. While this offers valuable market insights, it can sometimes be challenging to access the necessary data. Finally, internal benchmarking compares units within the same organization. It's often the easiest to implement since data access is simpler, and it helps us identify internal best practices that we can replicate elsewhere. All these different types of benchmarking serve to give us a comprehensive view of where we stand and how we can improve. The key is to select the right approach for each situation and to continually integrate these insights into our management practices. Let's talk about spans of control and how they influence organizational structure. Narrow spans allow for more coaching and supervision, which can be very beneficial for guiding employees closely. However, wide spans can reduce the quality of supervision because managers have less time to dedicate to each individual. When it comes to supervision quality, wide spans tend to foster greater independence among employees, encouraging them to take more initiative. On the other hand, narrow spans may sometimes stifle that initiative because employees might feel they need more oversight. In terms of management costs, wide spans help reduce expenses since fewer managers are needed to oversee larger groups. Conversely, narrow spans increase administrative work and costs because each manager supervises fewer employees, requiring more managers overall. Communication efficiency also depends on span of control. Wide spans facilitate faster communication because information flows more directly and quickly across fewer layers. In contrast, narrow spans can lead to delays and more complex communication paths. Now, these span of control choices shape the overall organization structure. Wide spans typically lead to flatter organizations, which means fewer hierarchical levels, faster communication, lower management costs, and greater employee autonomy. But a potential downside is that supervision quality might suffer if managers aren't able to closely oversee everyone. Narrow spans, however, create taller organizations with many hierarchical layers. This allows for closer supervision and coaching, but it can also mean slower communication, higher costs, and more bureaucracy. In summary, the span of control, the number of direct reports, really shapes how an organization is structured, how communication flows, and ultimately, how well it performs. Let's talk about the importance of regularly reassessing span decisions. The goal here is to maintain effective supervision, create an efficient organizational structure, provide appropriate levels of autonomy, and ensure that managerial workload remains sustainable. It's crucial to recognize that employees who are independent and good at problem-solving can handle much wider spans of control. On the other hand, those who need constant guidance require narrower spans to be effectively managed. Now, employee capability is a key factor in determining the right span. Standardized procedures, for example, make it easier to oversee larger groups because everyone knows what to do. Similarly, tasks that are similar or routine also simplify supervision, allowing for wider spans. Manager capability plays a role too. Highly capable managers can oversee more employees effectively. Proximity matters as well. Being located close to team members generally supports wider spans, as communication and supervision are easier. And let's not forget about culture. High-trust cultures tend to support wider spans because managers and employees operate with more independence and confidence. Other factors come into play. Advanced technology, like dashboards and instant messaging, can expand spans by facilitating quick communication. Conversely, limited tech often means narrower spans, since communication becomes slower and more cumbersome. Where employees are co-located, wider spans are feasible because interaction is straightforward. But in dispersed teams, communication challenges typically mean narrower spans are necessary. The skills and complexity of the tasks also influence span. Highly skilled employees working on simple tasks, say in fast food or retail, can often be managed with wider spans. Conversely, less skilled workers or those handling complex tasks, like research or specialized projects, require narrower spans for proper supervision. Ultimately, the effective span of control isn't fixed. It should adapt to the context, balancing these various factors to create an organizational structure that works best for the specific situation. That's how we ensure our organization remains both efficient and effective. Operational excellence is really about creating a competitive advantage. When companies excel in their operations, they can achieve lower costs, better quality, faster delivery, and greater flexibility. You see this clearly with companies like Toyota and Amazon, who have built their success through superior operational practices. Operations management has evolved significantly over time. It's moved from traditional mass production toward more flexible, customizable, and sustainable approaches. Modern concepts like Lean, Six Sigma, and Agile methods really reflect this shift toward more efficient and responsive operations. One of our key goals is managing major cost components effectively. We do this through smart process design and waste elimination, which helps us control costs while maintaining quality. Cost control is fundamental. Balancing rapid delivery with quality and cost is crucial. We want to reduce cycle times without sacrificing the standard of what we deliver. Speed and responsiveness are essential to meet customer expectations quickly and reliably. Ensuring consistent quality is another cornerstone. We need to prevent defects and build quality into our processes from the start. That way, we produce reliable outputs every time. Efficiency is about producing more output with less input. This involves reducing waste and streamlining processes so we can operate at peak performance. Now, it's important to recognize that operations management differs across sectors. In manufacturing, the focus is on converting raw materials into finished products. Think assembly lines. In services, we're creating intangible value, like healthcare or financial services. And in hybrid sectors, such as restaurants or retail, we combine both product and service elements. The principles of operations apply everywhere, but they're adapted to specific needs. We start with production planning, deciding what to produce, when, and how much. Process design is about establishing workflows, choosing the right equipment, and defining methods. Quality management ensures we meet standards and customer expectations. Capacity planning helps us match our capabilities to demand, avoiding under- or overutilization. Inventory control balances stock levels against costs and risks, and supply chain coordination manages our suppliers and material flow. Finally, continuous improvement focuses on increasing efficiency and reducing waste over time. At its core, operations management is all about execution. Unlike other functions that might focus more on planning or strategy, operations is where the rubber meets the road. It's about making things happen efficiently, consistently, and with quality. It's where strategy becomes reality. Operations management directs the processes that transform inputs, like materials, labor, and capital, into the final goods or services we deliver. It's the doing part, turning our capabilities into real, tangible value for the customer. Let's take a closer look at what makes change management effective. It's important to understand that it draws from multiple disciplines: psychology, communication, project management, and leadership. Successful change managers know they need to address technical aspects, human factors, and organizational structures all at once. Remember, organizational change isn't just about systems and processes, it's also about people. For change to stick, individuals must think differently and behave differently. They need to develop new capabilities, and this human dimension requires systematic support. This means reinforcing new behaviors, embedding changes into existing systems, building new skills, celebrating milestones, and continuously monitoring progress. Ensuring the sustainability of change minimizes chaos and prevents drops in productivity or morale. This involves careful planning, phased rollouts, thorough training, and clear communication. A smooth transition also means addressing fears, threats, and mistrust. We do this through transparent communication, involving people in the process, providing support like training and resources, and engaging in negotiations when needed. Minimizing resistance is another key aspect. Change management offers structured approaches to overcome inertia. It helps people understand why change is necessary, builds their capabilities for new ways of working, and helps sustain those changes until they become the new normal. Organizations are in a constant state of flux, new technology, shifting markets, but they also face resistance rooted in routines, comfort zones, and uncertainty. This inertia can be powerful, and that's where change management steps in to address both human and organizational challenges. It's worth noting that around 70% of programs don't meet their objectives. Failed changes waste resources and can harm morale. Resistance and poor execution are common reasons behind these failures. That's why change management is so critical. It systematically guides organizations, teams, and individuals through transitions, helping ensure that new technologies, processes, or strategies are implemented smoothly and successfully. The ultimate goal is to make sure changes stick and deliver the benefits we're aiming for. Now, modern change management views people as essential partners in the process. It emphasizes co-creation and continuous learning, which helps build what we call change-capable cultures. These cultures foster resilience and psychological safety, allowing organizations to adapt quickly and effectively. Both technical excellence and stakeholder commitment are necessary for success. Remember the simple formula: technical quality times commitment equals results. Without both, achieving desired outcomes becomes much harder. Successful change requires what I like to call the implementation equation. Key elements include leadership commitment, meaning visible, sustained support from senior leaders, along with a realistic timeline that provides enough time for people to adjust and develop new capabilities. We also need dedicated change agents, resources specifically driving the change, and robust metrics and monitoring to track adoption, identify issues, and demonstrate progress. Flexibility is crucial, too, being able to adjust your approach based on feedback and emerging challenges. Cultural alignment is another vital factor, making sure any changes are consistent with the organization's values. And to sustain these changes, it's important to recognize new behaviors, celebrate early wins, and embed the changes into performance systems. Reinforcement plays a big role here, offering skills, training, coaching, and resources to support people. This kind of support addresses fears, builds confidence, and helps speed up the adoption of new systems or processes. Involving key stakeholders early on is also critical. Solicit their input, address concerns, and recruit change champions. This builds ownership and helps reduce resistance along the way. Clear communication is fundamental. We need to articulate the why, the what, and the how of the change. Frequent, honest, two-way communication tailored to different audiences helps reduce anxiety and resistance. All in all, effective change management orchestrates these key elements: leadership, communication, stakeholder engagement, reinforcement, to ensure a smooth implementation and successful adoption. While different models exist, they all share these common themes, which are essential for navigating change effectively.